Alright, hey yo! So today I want to talk about the Aerophone AE-05 and how to set it up inside of Ableton Live. But let's talk about Ableton Live settings, preferences, and MIDI settings. The AE-05 right here. This checkbox here, track, that will take all of the notes that are coming from your instrument and put it into the MIDI channel, not the CCs. The CCs come through what's called remote here. So that would be like breath and pitch. If you have that unchecked, you're just not going to get any of that anywhere in Ableton Live. If you have it checked, then that information goes everywhere. And we'll talk about the problems with that in a little bit. Power switches here, mic controls there. One thing to note about that power control is it does time out after about 30 minutes. Yeah, if you set up at a gig early and you take some time, say take a break, expect that it may have turned off on you. Just pro tip there. Alright, so let me tell you about some of my favorite instruments here. This is one of my favorites, is Contact from Native Instruments, and the Factory Library, not Factory Library 2, but the regular Factory Library, and the Orchestral Surrounds, these VSL instruments, all have breath control mapped to something, so you get an expressive instrument just right out of the box. So breath basically mapped to volume, which is nice. But sometimes you'll have an instrument that doesn't have anything like that mapped. This is Analog Dreams, also from Native Instruments. The velocity from the Aerophone is always exactly the same. It's the breath that really gives you the expression. And because this synthesized instrument here does not have anything mapped to breath, it's a very monotonous tone. So one way you can kind of get around that is you can add like an auto filter, and then I can map this to breath. And I do that by right-clicking, going to MIDI mapping, and then I just blow. And now it's mapped to the frequency response, and now it's much more expressive. Which is cool, right? One problem with that is that even when you're on another instrument, watch this auto filter. So it's changing the filter on this instrument that I'm not actually recording on. So one way that you can kind of get around that is I could map it inside the instrument. So if I, in here, very similar process in most instruments, just right-click, learn, low, and now I've got a very similar expressive instrument, but now it's staying within the channel, so it's not going to affect any of the other channels over here. Anyway, so that's pretty much for Aerophone and how to set it up in Ableton Live. Enjoy.